Cool. So we're gonna get into this main topic, which whenever Jay, you picked this movie, and when you, I was kind of excited because it's been a while since I've watched it. And 5 minutes in, all that excitement went away. We're talking about Godzilla Final Wars. I've seen Final Wars multiple times. And my thought for Final Wars have always been like, it's insane, it's crazy, to me, it is the most out there of the Godzilla films. It's not my favorite, but it's fun. And then today I watched it and I said, I'm not having any fun with this. This may be the last time I ever watch this movie.
Oh, that's amazing.
Jay, do people like this? Do people out there like this movie?
I would say, if I did a kind of an informal poll based on my memory of talking to people and just when Final Wars comes up in conversations, I think it's probably a mixed bag, a polarizing film, but probably skewing slightly more to the negative, like not a fan of than being a fan of it. I think also they think maybe some age comes into it if you were just breaking in to the Kaiju, fandom, especially the Godzilla fandom, and the Millennium Series.
It probably also depends how much you like Power Rangers, because this
or the Matrix.
Like you're watching.
Well, and I think I agree. So my journey with this film is also, I think, pretty much paralleled yours, where it's like, at no point did I ever say this is one of my favorite films, right? No, it was always bottom half, but like fun. It still had the fun element. And as I've watched it more and more over time, that has diminished considerably. And I feel that this is no longer a fun movie to watch. It is a movie where there are moments in it where I will fast forward to those points to watch it. And that's all I care about in the movie. Now, I'll give, and I know that there were a lot of like behind the scenes stuff, and like what Kitahara did is from a directing standpoint, and everything is or Kitagawa, what they did, like not to everybody's liking. And I get that, bringing in kind of the Matrix style and all that stuff. But what it did do right for a film that is supposed to be kind of an anniversary film, a thank you to the fans, an homage to the whole series, did it bring back famous actors and cameos and had some kind of subtle nods and Easter eggs? Yes. Did it bring back a ton of kaiju, including some that we did not think would be in it, nor probably some that didn't deserve to be in it in a final war? Yeah, it did. And that's it. Period, end of sentence. Stop there. Whatever, done. It did those things. I'm not even saying it did them well, but it did those things. Everything else about this film, I think, is just trash. Just garbage.
I agree. When I was younger,
Kitamura, that's the one, not Kitahara. Sorry, I'm gonna get freaking booted out of the kaiju fandom for that one.
Nobody cares. When I was younger, I remember when I saw this for the first time, I thought to myself, like, oh, this is supposed to be an important movie in the franchise, because it was an anniversary and it was kind of I think it was towards the end of that series. If not, what was after this? Was this the last movie in
and then
it was the last, right?
It was. They did not do another one in Japan until Shin.
Okay, that's what I thought, which is
because you had MonsterVerse stuff.
That's fucking 2014. Insane. That's insane. But I remember just the fact that it had a lot of monsters in it made me think, oh, this is important because it's got a lot of monsters in it. They're doing like a new Destroy All Monsters. When I first saw it, that was what I told myself. I was like, oh, this is the new Destroy All Monsters.
And it has Don Fry.
It's got Don Fry. I hate the mutants in this movie.
Oh, yeah.
They all look stupid. They act stupid. They're like trying to fight Ebra with regular human-sized guns. Yeah. I hate their attitudes. I hate everything about. I'm like, why are
teenagers with attitudes?
I hate them. I hate the mutants. But we're not really going to talk about all that shit. We're just kind of here to talk about.
Oh, hey, real quick, did you watch the English dub or the subtitled version?
I watched the English one because it was free and I didn't want to grab my DVD.
No, I'm glad you did, because it doesn't. Neither one is any better than the other.
Are you about to mention where they called Anguirus Anguinus?
And then
there's one character
called Anguirus.
one character calls him Anguinus one time, and I was like, "Oh, like rhymes with penis." Yeah,
Anyways,
one
we had the
character
guy
calls him
again.
that. I was like, "Okay, yeah."
Oh,
There's a
the
bunch of weird pronunciations.
the dub. I love the. You look more like a model than a biologist. You want to be
His
model?
first, yeah, that's the first thing he says to her, and I'm like, "Fuck this guy." He's like, "You don't look like a biologist." I'm like,
You look more like
"Fuck
a
you,
model.
dude." Hey, you know what
Uh,
you look like? A fucking piece of shit, and you are.
but hey, he is the main protagonist. But
I hate him.
I have to say that of God love Akira Takarada and Kumi Mizuno and all them for
Yeah, dude.
doing their
There's
part.
all
And, and Kenji Sahara, he was in there, the paleontologist.
There's
Uh,
also there's also this really weird scene where they cut to the two guys that are working the Godzilla section of the
oh,
South Pole,
oh,
and he's
you know who
listening.
those are?
Who is that?
Those are mixed martial arts legends. Ray Sugarfoot Cepho and Big Daddy Gary Goodridge.
Why?
Also,
Why?
Don Fry.
Because
MMA,
Don Fry was like, "I'm
yeah.
not doing it unless you put this
Well,
amount of."
and also the guy that played the instructor, the badass human that sacrificed himself to fight off all the mutants. That was
Yeah.
he also is an MMA and pro wrestler guy. He was one of the founders of the mixed martial arts promotion back in the early '90s, Pancrase in Japan.
Okay.
His name is it Matsusaki Funaki? Funaki's his family name. I don't know if the
Right.
first name starts with an M. Anyway, so you had four, like, not like just kind of MMA guys, like Hall of Famers in there.
That's
and Ray
weird.
Sefo in kickboxing. Yeah.
That's very weird.
Sorry.
But that dude's listening to like the classic Godzilla versus is it the Mecha Godzilla score?
Yeah.
Whenever they cut to them, they're listening to the old Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla score, and I love that.
You look at those, you're like, y'all are gonna die. Y'all are gonna die.
There's a couple cool Easter eggs like that in the movie
For sure.
But here's one other thing I really hate before we get onto the suits. The music choices in the movie are really weird, and there's like some 41 at one
for the
point.
Zilla fight. Yeah,
I hate that so much. It feels so weird to cut into that, and I'm like, what the fuck is this dumb shit?
Yeah. There's a lot of, there's overwhelmingly so much just dumb stuff. Like, I think the fan service that they do get in the film does help take some of the edge off of how bad it is. But really, like, if you really, really get down to it, it's a lot of just schlock. It's just,
I fell asleep at one point. I fell asleep at one point, and then I did the same thing you did. I started fast forwarding towards the end to just the monster stuff. I was like, I can't watch.
And all the fights are so short, and I'm normally not like, oh my god, it has to be a certain thing. But it's
some of the fights are 10 seconds long, 15 seconds long, and it's like, oh, he just threw that monster seemingly hundreds of miles, and that's it.
Yes.
All right,
it was very Power Rangers, Power Ranger.
So what we did, Jay, is you asked me to rank.
We did this.
Oh, yes, my top 10 kaiju designs from this movie. And now listen, there's more than 10 kaiju in this movie, so they're not all on this list.
Some got some dishonorable mentions.
Yeah.
Now, we'll talk about those at the end when we figure. And here's the thing, guys. I'm gonna be going around to all the slides and back and forth because Jake hasn't told me what the top 10 are.
Yeah, you don't know.
Yeah, they're in here.
And listen, we'll start at 10. We'll start worst to best. But I am gonna say this: if I would have, since the list is a top 10, then technically the creature designs that I think are the worst shouldn't even be on this list.
Nope.
But I did because I wanted to talk about. I did put the one design that I think is the worst design in this movie. I put it as my top 10, edging out a couple others, and I'll tell you why. Because it deserves for us to talk shit about it.
I love it.
And because in a couple of these designs, like Kumonga, like he looks the same. It's like some of these are not worth talking about in a bad or a good way. They're just pretty. Like Ebra is not on my list because Ebra is just middle of the road. It's whatever. It's Ebra. Who cares?
And even Mothra. And even Mothra, they use the same suit from Tokyo SOS. They just painted some stuff. But I had a question for you on your rankings. And I know the number 10 or whatever might be different. But when you were judging good and bad, or maybe just bad and less bad,
they're mostly bad. Yeah.
Which is another thing altogether. were you rating them kind of compared to each other, or compared to like maybe their legacy design?
I
Like
could
how?
not I could not help but to compare to their original
Gotcha.
designs,
Cool.
and I
That's what I would have
thought,
done.
and I'm also going to tell you this, like, there is only one on my list
Mhm.
that I think is an upgrade to its original design. And
I
it's
might
and
have
I
I
and
might have that same one.
I put it high on my list. I didn't put it
Mm.
as number 1 because I don't think it's the best one in the movie, but I
Yeah.
think it's an upgrade over its original, and there's only one.
Yeah.
Out of all of these creatures,
Um,
only one of them looks better than the original to me.
okay, and
And
real quick, when that one pops up on screen, can I
mhm.
guess it? And if I don't say anything, you'll be like, "Hey, this is
Yeah,
the one I
yeah,
was
yeah,
talking about." I
yeah,
have the feeling I know
you
which
can
one it
guess
is
when we get to it,
because
yeah.
it would have been number 1 on my list. Because not only do I think it's the best upgrade, I do think it's actually the best design. Okay, so let's go, Jake. Who do you have as your number 10?
Number 10, the worst looking fucking thing in this movie is Keizer Ghidorah.
I got it.
Um,
There he is.
this is the dumbest looking version of Ghidorah.
It's
It
the
is the
worst.
clunkiest. It looks dumb with the 4 legs. This
Mhm.
is the absolute worst kaiju design maybe in the fucking history of Godzilla movies. I hate this.
It looks like when they have the 2 people that have to wear the horse costume, the
That's
front and the back.
exactly what it looks like.
I think it's
Wing
actually what it
hey, there's 0 chance those wings are propelling this creature.
is. Hey, the
This
laws of physics
sucks.
on Planet X, man.
I
Yeah.
don't like it when it's Monster X either. In fact,
Oh.
Monster X is not on my list, but it
Yeah.
looks better than this.
I would say those 2 would be battling out for my least favorite. Those are I'll tell you this, like, Keizer and Monster X are the only 2 that I can't find anything redeeming about them or their
Yeah.
appearance in the film. So
Yep.
I agree with you. I love this pick, and I think it's is it but really I'm thinking about this. Is it of all the major films? Let's throw out like the Rygas and Regos and Death Kappas and all that other world, like no indie films, like of the
Right.
Toho produced or or stuff from Daiei or whatever. Like, is this the worst designed major studio kaiju?
Yeah.
It might be. I
100%.
really
It is, and it's weird, like, at this point in this is Godzilla Final Wars. This is so
yeah.
late, this is movie number 30 basically,
Yeah.
and it's like we've had 10 versions of King Ghidorah, and
Yeah.
then this is gonna be your anniversary film. Godzilla's gonna fight 15 other monsters. This
Yeah.
is the big bad, and it just looks
Yeah.
like shit.
And you screwed up twice because you messed up
This
Monster
looks
X.
like this looks like a Ultra Kaiju from the 70s.
It does. It totally does. Or I was even thinking like a high school play. Like this is what the high school costume
It's
director would
bad.
make.
It's
Um,
bad.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
And not the suit, but your commentary. Okay. Do we just end it there? Who's after Keizer
Okay.
Ghidorah?
Cool.
Number 9.
Only slightly better than Keizer Ghidorah is Hedorah.
Hold on, I got him on here. Hold on, he's coming up. He's at the end of my list. There he is. Look
There
at
he
that
is.
beautiful man.
He's fine. Like it's not awful.
Yeah.
He literally has 30 seconds. He or she
Yeah.
has 30 seconds of screen
He.
time.
It's a he.
It is
It's
a he.
confirmed a male because he has the penis arm. He has the phalange, the whip, and the one in the Showa era is the female because she has the vagina eyeball.
Okay.
And they made this one a male of the species because it has the little
I did not know that.
phallic hand. I don't know if that's actually been confirmed. It's been confirmed. I don't know how legitimate the confirmation is.
Yeah.
But yes.
Yeah, this one it's not awful, but it just doesn't look as good as the original. It's
No.
weirdly skinny for some reason.
Yes.
I just think it's
He
not
likes
as
big women.
good. I just think it's not as good as 7 through 1, and it's not as bad as 10. That's all I have to say about it.
Yeah, this one I think that's pretty accurate. This one doesn't like bother me. It's just a little weird to see so skinny. Because the cool thing about
It's
the original
very
is like how
skinny.
like it's this mounds and mounds of sludge and
Yeah.
blood, and it's like big and like cumbersome, and like that's what makes it cool. And it like towers over Godzilla. This is like a little like little runt.
Yeah, it's dumb.
Number 9, Hedra. Who comes at number 8?
Number 8 is Anguinus.
Oh,
I kind of hate this.
oh,
I kind
I
of
hate
hate
it so
his. I
much.
really hate the way his head looks.
So small.
Yeah, it's just like it's shaped weird, but
Yeah.
I can accept like the his arms and the texture on his stomach. I think all that looks kind of cool. It's okay. It's I mean, again, there's the last few on this list are all only here because they're not as good
Mhm.
as the best and they're not as bad as the worst. His
I hate this
face
design.
kills me. His
Yeah.
face kills me. But I think his arms look cool. I
Yeah.
think his body looks good. They just really fucked his head up. And he's in this movie a lot.
Yeah.
So it's like,
He
we could
destroys
have.
like a ship.
Yeah.
Yeah, I am. I think because and we talked about this but way back when we did our the best and worst of kaiju designs, and this is in my worst. Like
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it's Keizer Ghidorah bad, but for me it's bad because I love the Anguirus and the design, the Showa design so much, and this one is really good up until you get to the neck, and then you have
Yeah.
that weird, like super small, almost conical head,
Yeah.
and
It's
it just
too
is
small.
so dumb
There's
looking,
a
and I like his movements, though. I think there's a lot of good here, but it's like, why did you screw it up? You were so
there's a
close.
there's a scene in this movie where there's like a kid playing with a bunch of Godzilla toys in front of the
Mhm,
TV, and he has the Anguirus figure.
mhm.
And as he does this in front of the TV has Anguirus on it.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
he's got like the 90s Bandai
yeah,
version. And
yeah,
I'm like, oh, that looks so much better than
yeah.
what's in the movie. He's also playing with a space guy. I paused it and I was like, what's
And
he got?
Violante?
He's got a bunch of figures, and I'm like, oh, all these monsters are better than the monsters in the movie.
And you notice, like, when he throws the toy, he throws a blue,
It's a
unnamed
gamma. It's
turtle.
a
Yeah.
turtle, yeah.
I love that. See,
Yep.
they did things like that were good. Like, that
Yeah.
was like that goes back to that fan service and those, like, funny Easter eggs and stuff like that. Those things in Final Wars was good.
Yeah.
Were good. But that's it. It ends there.
I
Okay,
agree.
that was number 8. Number 7.
Number 7 is here because it basically looks like the regular version, and I don't hate it, but it's Rodan.
Oh, Rodan. Oop, there
I
it is.
think the Rodan here, it looks fine. Like it basically looks
Yeah.
like fire. Basically looks like Heisei Rodan.
Yeah.
Maybe its face is a little shorter and its neck is a little longer, but
Yeah.
that just kind of reminds me of the original Rodan.
Yeah. It's kind of a
It's
cross between
fine.
the two.
Yeah, it's fine. It's in the movie for 20 seconds.
Yeah.
That's my number
I
7.
The one thing that throws me off on this, I think you described it perfectly. It's weird when it goes to the CGI flying scenes. It's so
Well,
weird
dude,
to me.
listen. The CGI in this movie is all awful. None of it looks good. There
It's
are
like Asylum
zero
grade. It's Asylum grade.
that is to me probably the biggest bummer of the whole movie is
Yeah.
how much of the creatures are CGI, and it is like maybe we could make that on our computers. It's really, really bad. And it's just so happens that the flying kaiju suffer from it the worst.
Oh
But
my gosh, it's the
yeah.
the flap. Anyway, okay. Now we're on to number 6.
Yeah, 6. This is a dumb one. It's Manila.
Oh, perfect. It was right there.
I kind of like this. Like
Yep.
it's a little weird, but it's different enough from the old
Yeah.
one, and you
Yeah.
can tell they tried to make him a little cuter,
Yeah.
but still look like. This was one where I was like, well, it looks like they put a little bit of thought into
Yeah.
him to try to make him still be cute and charming. Still, you can tell that he's supposed to be Manila and not little Godzilla or something.
Yep. He
And
grows
because
like
of,
in
yeah,
Godzilla's Revenge. Yeah.
because of that, number 6.
You know what? I'm with you on this one as well. I don't hate this. Like, I mean, I don't hate it any more than I hate the original.
Yeah.
Unit. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
to me, it's like, it's not like necessarily a massive upgrade where it's like, oh, that's my favorite kaiju design of all time. But
Yeah.
it's not, it's one of the few that I would say, like, I don't know if I'd go as far as saying they improved on it, but it's like, it's at least in the same ballpark.
It's one of the few that they tried to make it
Yeah.
different. You know
If
what I
this was
mean?
the worst creature design in the movie, we would
Yeah.
be okay. We would be okay.
Mhm.
We wouldn't be
Yeah.
having this conversation.
Now, I will say that we're about to get into number 5.
Uh-huh.
5 through 1, I think are all pretty good.
Okay. Okay.
There is one that I'm gonna complain about when I get to it,
Okay.
but I think these last 5 these are good to great, I think.
Okay. Okay. So number 5.
Number 5 is Mothra.
Oh, okay. All right.
Mothra is Mothra. They didn't do anything different, and this Mothra looks
Yeah.
good to me.
I really think
I think
I think it's the Tokyo SOS one. I think they just painted it a darker
yeah,
brown.
yeah, I like it. I like Mothra. Mothra is it's hard to fuck up Mothra unless you're MonsterVerse Mothra, and this one's pretty good. So they didn't do anything different. So I was like, oh, cool, it's good. It's Mothra.
I'm sorry. I like my Mothra like with fur.
Me too.
Yeah, I like
Me
it. There's just
too.
something about like I think it's the when you say like queen of the monsters and like the what it represents and like with the mysticism and the whatever, like you almost want it like this maternal, like warm and fuzzy, like you can embrace it. You know, if
Yeah.
I need to feel like I can hug Mothra, and the MonsterVerse one was so jagged and small, like I was like gonna snap it because it was an insect. Like Mothra needs to be like this.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
and one other thing that I did like about what they did with Mothra in this movie is I like that in the lore of Final Wars, Mothra and Gigan
Yeah.
have this like centuries long.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool to me.
Yeah.
So
Well, we talked about like, and I remember we did that episode where we talked about like where, like what would our like dream movies or where, you know, what could really kind of like need, what kaiju would need like a reboot or redesign. And we
yeah.
talked about like doing a Mothra, like a back in history, you know, primitive Mothra versus Gigan
Mhm.
or Mothra versus Batra, because both of those kind of had
Yeah.
similar backstories. Like that would
Yep.
be really cool. I want to see Mothra defeating Gigan way, way, way back when. That would be so cool.
Yeah. Same.
Yeah. Okay. I like the Mothra design. I'm right there with you. It
Yeah.
actually might even be higher on my list. You're
Yeah.
way more generous on some of these than I am.
Well, I had to be, or else
Yeah.
I wouldn't have wanted to do this episode. Number 4 is King Caesar.
Where is that? There he is.
I think that face looks amazing. I love the way they did his face. The body is a little athletic looking, and I'm not a huge fan of the body. I think the face looks great though. I think you don't get a good amount of like close-ups of him, but
Mm.
when you do, I just like what they did with the top part of this
Yeah.
King Caesar's body. I thought
him
it
and-
was different.
Him and Angus, they had the opposite problems. Here, like
Yeah.
the neck up is fine. To me, I can't even give this one an okay because I can't get past the fact that it really should be fighting like a Megazord. Like same
Yeah.
with Monster X. Like they're just like
Yeah.
the obvious like
They're too humanoid.
they're too humanoid and their movements and everything. And it doesn't help that he's like kicking Angus as a soccer ball and doing parkour and all that good stuff.
That scene's so weird.
It's
I don't know, man. I
why is
mind
Godzilla diving to Angus? Shouldn't he be diving the other way?
I mind all those things less with King Caesar. That like it's just this is better than it's better than the anger. All those other ones, this just looks better. It's more digestible to me.
I think it's better than Angus. Yeah.
Even though it's not great,
Hmm.
it's better than a lot of the other ones.
Okay, King Caesar. King Caesar.
My number 3, I went back and forth with this one.
Okay.
And this is why. This is why. Compared to other iterations of this character, it's not the best.
Okay.
But compared to every other monster in this movie,
can I guess?
It's pretty good. Yeah, if you want to guess, you can guess.
Gigan.
No.
Oh, you're doing Godzilla?
It's Godzilla.
Yeah. Oh.
Number 3 is Godzilla. If this is a standalone Godzilla and he exists not in this movie, then I kind of hate it.
Yeah.
And it's the head I don't like. I don't mind his skinnier body.
Mm.
I like his big nails.
Mm.
His spines look really great in this.
And he's a great fighter.
Yeah, he's good. It's just his head's a little bit of a weird shape.
Yeah.
And if you put that up against, 54,
Mhm.
Shin, Heisei, it loses to so many other Godzillas to me.
Yeah.
But in the realm of this movie, it is the third best design in the film.
Okay, wait. Let's real quick. Let's tangent here because I
Okay.
agree with you. I'm right there with you. Um,
Yeah.
is this is this the second best Millennium design? Because look at this. Think about this. You have Godzilla 2000 and Godzilla Megaguirus, essentially the same. I know there's
Yeah.
slight subtle differences, but like that same
They're
vibe,
basically the
right?
same. Yeah.
Yeah. The purple spines and whatnot. Then you have GMK standalone, which I
GMK,
think is the
which is
best.
the best.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean that, and I think GMK actually deserves to be up there with Shin 89, 54, 68, or 64,
Hmm.
54 and 64, maybe 62. But anyway, then you have the Godzilla against Mecha Godzilla and SOS one, which is kind of the wide chest one.
Yeah.
The one
I
that has kind of
hate
like the,
that.
the planet, and then you have Final Wars.
And
So
then
to
this.
me, I actually think it's better than
Yeah.
the Godzilla 2000 design and the duology design,
I
if you
agree with
will.
that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. I agree with that.
yeah, I
Yeah.
agree. I think that it's not a great design, but compared to the other riffraff in this movie, it's not terrible. Like once again, if this was the worst design of the movie, we'd be doing okay.
Yeah. For sure.
Okay,
Uh,
number two.
we got two left, Jay.
I still haven't made my guess on who I think which one you think is a big upgrade from the original because I still think it's out there.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, then we'll get to my number two, which is Manda.
That's it. That's what I think it is.
You're right. It's
Yeah.
Manda.
Yeah.
This is the best upgrade. This Manda looks great when it's not CGI.
Yes,
It
of
is
course. Of course.
CGI a good bit of the time. This is the best looking version of Manda we've ever gotten, maybe other than Singular Point, but that's a
Totally.
different thing. I think in live action movies, this is the best looking Manda. Manda got the best upgrade. Should have been in the
Yes.
movie more.
Yep.
This is why it's number two. I still don't think it's the best design in the film,
Mm.
but it is the best version of Manda, and it is the only kaiju in this movie that got an upgrade.
And it just got a Bandai Movie Monster Series vinyl released.
Hmm.
The Final Wars Manda. I
Yep.
agree with you on the fact that it's the biggest upgrade from the originals, and really from the Godzilla versions. It's an upgrade, but less of an upgrade from the original Manda from Atragon. That one was actually pretty good.
Yes, I agree.
The weird worm thing,
Yeah,
in '68 and stuff is terrible. But I would disagree with you on one thing. I actually do think this is the best design in the whole movie. I
yeah.
really do.
Okay.
Um,
Well, I mean,
I,
I only don't think that by one. It's my number two.
and then
So
who is number one then?
it's Gigan. It's Gigan.
Which
Number one is
one?
Gigan. It's the same Gigan. All they do is change the hands, right? I
He
went
has a
with regular. I
okay.
went with the regular Gigan.
Yeah, but
because
the
it
other
just looks
hands
more.
bug me so much. Oh,
Yeah, I don't like those other hands. I mean, listen, this is a really well done design.
yeah.
And it's the only kaiju in the film that I think you know they so many of the kaiju, they try to make them like skinnier and leaner
Mhm.
and a little more to this style, and none of that succeeds except for in the Gigan.
That's a great point. I never thought
It
about that.
just, to me, it kind of like with Manda and kind of like with Minya. It looks like they actually sat down and said, we need to make this one look
Yeah.
really cool. It's weird to me that this isn't the big bad of the movie. He should have
Yeah.
been. But that being said, original Gigan's better.
Yes,
Um,
agreed.
yeah, but I love this design. I think this is a great design.
Yeah,
And and when this movie came out, I remember being so happy that Gigan was in it because Godzilla versus Megalon is one of my favorites, and I always thought Gigan was so weird.
Mhm.
And to me, the fact that they were like, we're gonna bring Gigan back and try to make him a little more badass, I was
Yeah.
like, fuck yeah, dude!
Yeah.
I was super excited about it.
Yeah, he's a big plot point, and I agree. I think that this was not one that was thrown together. It is just the amount of time they spent on. I wonder if they just were like, "Oh yeah, we gotta have another one. Well, let's create Keizer Ghidorah."
Mhm.
This one is so much more thoughtful, and I never thought it. You nailed it. of the ones that try to do that more tokusatsu style kaiju, this is the only one that really succeeded in that move to that style versus like King Caesar and Monster X and all that stuff. Like
Yeah.
this one, I like this design. I think if this would
Yeah.
actually, I'd probably flip Manda and Gigan on mine and have Manda 1 and this Gigan 2.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's good. And I don't like the chainsaw hand Gigan, but
No,
the hand part,
I
I like
don't
this one better.
I don't either, but it doesn't bother me because this one's in the movie
More.
maybe longer than the
Yeah.
chainsaw one. And I mean, if you think about it, out of anything in Final Wars, I feel like this Gigan is the only thing you still see from this movie. Like they
100%.
still make figures. You know, I bought a fucking. It's right here. Hold on. I pulled this out of my closet today, and I bought this at fucking Target years ago.
Yeah,
like this Gigan is still being produced. It's still out there. I don't see no versions of any of these other creatures. Like,
no.
This is the only thing that's kind of had a life outside of Final Wars. I might not be completely right in saying that, but to me, what I see more than
other
anything
Godzilla,
from this movie
other
is
than
this
Godzilla,
design.
Yeah.
This one's covered in dust because it was in my closet. But,
and you
but
can buy
he's
it. Just reach out to Jacob Walsh.
Hey, I'll sell you this.
Yeah. I agree. This is when you think of Final Wars. I think the first thing you think of from a kaiju standpoint is probably this Gigan. Yeah. I think you might be honest. I think this Gigan and really probably just Final Goji are the only two that really get referenced. I know people love Monster X, but Monster X is terrible. So stop loving him. I have a Marmot. One of my favorite Safubi pieces. I have a Marmot, awesome color on the Ebera from Final Wars, which is slightly different, leaner, more than the original. Like everything is. Everybody lost some weight as they moved into Final Wars.
Everybody got a little hungry.
Okay, so great list. I love it. I love that Keizer Ghidorah is the worst of all time. So let's talk about the ones that you didn't choose, and I'll skip.
Sure.
I'll skip the modified Gigan.
Mummified Gigan was cool.
Yeah, I like mummified Gigan. How about Monster X? We've mentioned it a lot. I hate this design. This wouldn't make my top 10 either. I hate this how the other heads don't look like they're fully formed, and I get that like it turns into it, but I'm like, why? Like, why does this thing exist? How he floats down. I hate him.
It's better than Keizer Ghidorah, but it's not good.
It's better than Keizer Ghidorah, but maybe that's it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, we talked about Manila. We talked about Rodan, Anguirus, or Anguinus. Oh, okay,
Kumanga. This one is one of the ones that it didn't get on my list because it's just, it's a giant spider. It looks.
I like the paint job though. I
can't say that this is worse than the original Kumanga. It's just not different enough for me to care. It's just Kumanga.
It's brighter.
And I've never cared about Kumanga or the fucking praying. What are the
Kamacuras?
The Kamacuras. I just don't care.
We say Kumanga and Kamacuras, but as us that grew up on the dubs when we were little, we would call them Gimantus and Spiga, or Spiga. Yeah, that's how we always said them when we were younger, just because the dubs. We talked about Hedera. Okay, Kamacuras.
Yeah, I agree. It's just a CGI fucking praying mantis all the time.
The best. Did he have the best death of all the kaiju?
Best death in the movie. Yes, impaled on the tower, and then its head just.
It was like, I'm done. Okay, now this is the one I think gets talked about more than any from what they did, both from a positive and a negative. Positive that they made the haha joke. He goes in there and he gets killed and gets called a tuna head or whatever. Bad because it's the one that's I think it's the only one that's entirely CGI.
It is, and they did that on purpose. No, that was part of the joke was that he was completely.
And it's like
CGI.
Rendered even less, so it looks even.
And it's also and it's also really like even though we did a whole episode on Godzilla '98, and we hate that movie, but also kind of like that movie for
the
what
design.
it is. I think the design of that Godzilla, if it wasn't Godzilla, is great. This looks kind of nothing like it. This looks like if I drew Godzilla '98 when I was 6 years old. This is
You're pretty good at 6 years old. Then I couldn't draw half of this now.
I was pretty good at 6 years old.
But yes, and I would have been okay if the other CGI was good and this one was bad, kind of on purpose, as more that tongue in cheek kind of jab if they were going
Also,
there. But all the other CGI is also bad, so the joke isn't as funny.
Also, the whole time it's on screen is Sum 41 blasting in my ears.
Yes, that's right. Oh, I would say the best part of Zilla is when not the opening scene where he's doing his stuff, but when they bring him back to fight Godzilla and like. He's like the first one that you see like that they send back, and he like the spiraling CGI effect and stuff.
Yeah,
I'm like, what was that?
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk Ebra. Ebra is a little bit more kind of like kind of leaner too, like leaner and meaner, and like a little bit like more pointed and angular. And I like it. I think it's an upgrade, but of course, like it's still just a giant crustacean.
I feel the same way about it as I do about Kumonga. It's just another lobster.
Just another lobster. And that's it, man. And we'll end on Manda.
That's it. Manda looks great. I don't know. Like, Manda looks really good.
I mean, I kind of want to see Godzilla against Manda as just like a short. That would be great. Just no story, just have a fight. Because that would be like, you could have like in the water him like strangling him and stuff like that until Godzilla takes over. Like, it could be pretty compelling. I want Final Wars Manda versus Godzilla.
Final Wars Manda versus like Heisei Godzilla, or the like Godzilla the Ride Godzilla or something.
Oh, that would be really cool. Heck yeah, man.
Dude. These suck, and I think I'm probably gonna go watch those Gigan shorts to kind of wash these out of my.
Or just go watch Godzilla versus Megalon or Godzilla versus Gigan.
Yeah, I mean, sure. Yeah, I might.
Well, thank you for indulging me. I mean, one of these, I knew this movie. I didn't know that you necessarily had the exact same feeling that I did, but like I obviously don't have much fun watching this movie. But so I tried to throw something in there to at least make it.
I'm glad you did.
Reason to watch it.
Dude, I'm glad you did, because otherwise it would have been hard, and it would have been a hard episode because we would have been just shitting on this movie the whole time. But doing the rankings, it works. It was fun. So yeah, I enjoyed it.
Well, I am excited. I don't know for sure if it'll be our next film we review or the next one or whatever, but I'm excited to talk to you when you see it. I know the Blu-ray is en route to you right now. I keep on calling it the Lost.
It probably will be. I mean, we're not going to record again for 2 weeks. I'm sure it will be here. So
yeah. And I keep on calling it the Lost Korean film of Space Monster Wong Magwi, put out by SRS Cinema. It actually was technically not lost. It just was unattainable. They would only show it one day ever so often in Korea, but you couldn't even acquire it in Korea, in Japan, in the US. There's no way to secure a copy. So that was what was changed. They still had a print of the film. It's not like, King Kong goes to Edo, or the Japanese Kong from 33, 34, 36, whenever that one was, or the original Great Buddha. None of that. This is a film that just was highly, highly unattainable. But it was really cool. I'm so curious what you think of this, because it is weird, and like, I'm very excited to chat with you about it.
I like weird.
Yeah, it's it wasn't what I was expecting. And I'll get into that more when we talk about it, but it's definitely worth a watch. So if you guys can go pick it up, I think it's still out there on Blu-ray, and maybe even a couple VHS copies left from SRS for Space Monster Wong Magwi. Really cool stuff.
Cool. Yeah, that'd be fun. We should be doing that on the next episode, 2 weeks from today, or whenever this comes. I imagine if we're splitting this up, you might not be hearing me say this from like a week from now. So that I know that might be confusing, but I think I know what I'm saying when I say that. This was fun. Jay, you got anything else, or
I'm good, man. Yeah, we're gonna get out of here. Go buy a kaiju toy. Go watch a kaiju movie. Go listen to one of our back episodes. And yeah, that's it. And happy birthday, Jay.
Thank you. I'm gonna buy another one of these. The identical. I'm gonna
army build.
The exact army build this figure. Jay, thank you. We will talk to you next time.